G'day cruisers, and welcome back to Aussies on the Seas. We've got a few things to talk about today. Some strange things and some great things. So let's get into it. Right, now the Costa Luminosa has now become the Carnival Luminosa in all respects. She has been completely refitted out, repainted, re-signaged, and is on her way to Australia as we speak. She's currently transiting through the Suez Canal and will be expected to hit Singapore sometime in the next week or so. So that's fantastic news for those of you who are cruising from Brisbane or who are from other areas of Australia who want to go on the Carnival Luminosa. She is making her way out to Australia. Soon she'll be coming into the Brisbane International Cruise Terminal and will begin sailings from there. Strange news this week. The Sydney ferry fair wind stopped with propulsion and steering problems in the middle of Sydney Harbour on Monday afternoon, just outside of Fort Denison. While this was happening, Coral Princess was getting ready to be tugged out of Sydney Harbour. So the problem is that the freshwater Manly ferry was right in the path or expected path of Coral Princess as she left Sydney Harbour. Luckily, though, the tugs were able to bring Coral Princess to a stop once they were notified by the port authorities that there was an obstruction in the way, and nobody was injured, which was a fantastic thing. However, Sydney do need to get their ferries fixed, because if Coral Princess had been a lot closer to the ferry when it actually lost all engine and steering, it could have been disastrous. Now, speaking of propulsion problems, about a month ago, I brought you the story of the Quantum of the Seas from Royal Caribbean and the fact that it is having propulsion issues. Now, from what we are able to actually see, it is still having these propulsion issues a month, maybe a month and a half later. So all the itineraries for Alaska so far have skipped the Endicott Glacier. Now, this is the glacier where they're required to transverse the ship around and spin the ship on its axis 180 degrees in order to get out of the glacier. Now, this requires all four of Quantum of the Sea's massive diesel generators, generating the maximum amount of power possible to then go towards the propulsion of the ship. Now, I got it wrong in a previous video. I thought that it was the pods or the motors, the servos that turn the pods, but it is actually one of the four main massive diesel power plants that are aboard. So one of those power plants is out. It's still out. Hopefully it's got a handful of sailings left to do in Alaska before it does its Transpacific journey two-leg Transpacific journey from Seattle to Honolulu, then from Honolulu to Brisbane. So hopefully by the time they get it back to Seattle, they are able to repair the problem so that it won't go forward and affect any cruisers in Australia. I'm unsure of whether that particular problem will affect many cruisers in Australia, as Royal Caribbean has said that they are still able to operate the ship quite effectively. It's just at a reduced power and at a reduced speed. So hopefully she'll be back up to her old self by the time she gets into Brisbane. Now, great news. The Carnival Splendor has just pulled into Sydney yesterday, and she has completed her 23-day Transpacific crossing from Seattle to Sydney. So she's now in Sydney. Tomorrow she will begin her journey on a 4-day start of her cruising season here from Sydney. So that is fantastic for all Aussie cruisers. We now have the Carnival Splendor sitting in Sydney Harbour, and we have the Carnival Luminosa heading its way as we speak. So that's 2 new ships to start up the Aussie cruising restart. So that's pretty cool. Well, that's all we have time for today. Thank you for watching our video. If you like the video, if you like what you've seen, hit the subscribe button down below and don't forget to click the little notification bell. Not only will this help you out, but it also helps the channel know and YouTube know that people are interested in cruising videos. Till then, we'll be seeing you guys somewhere on the seas.